and get started. So the way that I work with these is I'm going to read the question. And also, just as you know, as a business coach, I'm actually Anthony Robbins trained coach. And it's one of those things, I kind of say some things, I'll word something back when I rephrase the question back to you. Might ask for you to look at it another way. Sometimes it might be a little shocking, just kind of get your brain into thinking a little bit out of the box to try to kind of get to the root of the questions and get you to change. Sometimes people ask a question and then I want to say, well, if you're asking this question, there's a bigger problem. So we will kind of dive into that. I'm super straightforward and type in your questions. If I get to a question and I'm unsure of it and I'm not understanding really what the question meant, I will ask that. And if you happen to have asked the question when you signed up for the webinar, if you'll put a clarification, that's great. At any time, if anybody has any comments or additional questions to anything that I'm talking about as we go, just throw ahead and throw that into the chat as well. I will answer questions as we go along, because a lot of times, you know, webinars, they want you to wait until the very end, and then it kind of loses momentum and you can't remember the question. And certainly if I see that you've typed in a question and I know it's coming up in a slide or two, I will defer and wait till that slide comes around. But feel free, y'all, just to jump in. I like this to be really fun and interactive as well. So we're going to go ahead and get going. First question, obviously, is how do you figure out what to charge a client when you're staging? And there was a second question by this person. Is there a range of going rates for stagers? She lives in Canada, so it might be different, but wanted to know what was also in the US. So this is one of those times where I'm going to kind of reword it back to you. I understand. I think that people, I would like to hope, it's not been my experience, I would have liked to hope that people ask this question just because they're curious of what's going on. And I don't want you to use the answers to set your rates, because that could put you out of business. When I answer this first question, how do you figure out what to charge a client when you're staging? It's super simple. Your cost plus what you need to do to make a profit, to make it willing to get out of bed every morning to go do the job that you need to do. I will give you an example. In my business years ago, and actually in running RESA, just so you know, I don't run a staging business. RESA is more than a full-time job. We have 5 staff members. We're a nonprofit organization. So everybody that works in leadership at RESA is focused solely on servicing our members. Years ago, I was on, I had a website and I would do consultations for people. Hardly ever did them. People just where I live, it's a super small town. We actually just got a stoplight last year. Nobody's staging up here. And it wasn't my passion to do it, but I let some agents know if they absolutely needed it, I would be there for them because nobody else was. But it's, I think I probably did 3 or 4 of them. So long story short, one gal calls me and she says she's researched me. She practically stalked me. She had every magazine article, television piece, anything that you can imagine about me in a folder. And it was quite bizarre. I will tell you, once I did accept the job and I got there, but she was like, I want you to come. I want you to do the consultation. And I thought to myself, I don't want to do this. I don't want to travel that far. It was about 45 minutes out. And the going rate for a consult is probably $250, $300 around here. And I wasn't going to do it for that. I wasn't going to get out of bed for that and get in my vehicle and drive somewhere. It just wasn't worth it for me. So when I told her, I said, hey, let me refer you to somebody else. Not a problem. I know a couple stagers or maybe a little bit closer to you. Let me refer you. She says, no, I have to have you. I've done my research. You don't understand. I have to have you. How much? I don't care how much it costs. So I said $600. And I just threw this ridiculous price out there, but I delivered it with such confidence. The next words out of her mouth was, when can you get here and do you take cash? And I was like, okay, I'm into this. So for me, at that point in time, $600 was my consult fee, because it wasn't worth it for me to get out of bed for anything less than that to be able to drive there. There was just no way, no time to be able to do it. Now, $600 might not be your fee, but you need to figure out what it is that you need to do to make a profit. And a lot of people overthink this process. So if you're in a stage, let me ask this online if everybody can type in here. Does anybody on here own your own inventory, your own furniture, the big pieces? If anybody does, type a yes. If you don't do anything. pretty sure everybody here is probably going to be renting. So let's go off the assumption that everybody's, renting the furniture. So what you would do when you're determining your pricing is what's the cost for the furniture that needs to be rented? And if you have your own accessories and things like that, you just need to come up with a staging fee. So that staging fee is also going to be, what are your additional out-of-pocket costs? What's it take, your average gas to be able to get someplace? What's the wear and tear in your vehicle? What's the insurance? How many movers did you have to pay? Assistance did you have to pay? After every single expense is said and done, how much do you personally need to make off of that in order to make a profit for yourself? And you add all that up. And that's your fee, basically. The biggest mistake I think a lot of people make when they're setting their prices is that they do call other stagers, or they go to the Facebook groups and say, what's anybody charging? And then they apply that. And that could put you out of business so quickly, because you didn't do the math. It's super important for you to do your own math and not just take what somebody else states, because their overhead could be different. And you could have more overhead, and they could be charging very little and lowballing someone, and that'll put you out of business in 60 days. So it's one of these things that you just really need to be on top of your data. You need to have a really good QuickBooks, and you need to analyze your P&Ls. And you need to just run your data and always looking at your data to see how profitable you are. And then you can adjust your pricing. Another biggest mistake, it's probably the second biggest mistake people make, is that they lowball everything, and you underbid jobs just to get the job. If you're new in the business and you're underbidding other experienced stagers just so you can get some experience, you are not going to be well received at all. Charge what you are worth. It doesn't matter if you've been in business for 1 day or 10 years. If you can do a job and you do it well, you should be collecting that going rate. Because when you're not, you're setting yourself up for failure, number one, because all those clients are always going to want that from you forever. It's very difficult to get them to be able to come up in the pricing. Eventually, you're gonna realize, I can't do business like this. I'm going to go out of business because I'm not profitable. And then when you realize really how much underbidding you were doing, and you realize you might have to double your rates. I've heard of people needing to triple their rates. Then you have to start all over again. So charge what you're worth. Make sure you're in the ballpark. Figure out there, but charge what you need to do to be able to cover your own expenses and then also make a profit. Oh, do you post your fees on a website? I love this question, Jessica, because there's my girlfriend and I, she's also a business coach in staging, and we have this debate about this subject. It's a friendly debate. We just have a drastically difference of opinion. And this is what I'm going to tell you what both of our opinions are, and then you all have to judge for yourselves. So if you are new and you put your prices on your website, the people that you attract are now making a preconceived notion over whether or not it is that they can afford your services and whether or not they find their own value in it. Number one. Number two, if they find that they can't afford it, don't want it, or didn't see the value, they don't call you. Number three, they don't call you, you can't practice your sales pitch. Number four, if you can't practice your sales pitch, you can't figure out your closing ratio. If you can't figure out your closing ratio, you can't set your goals in order to become a better closer. If you don't become a better closer, you're not going to get any business. And that just goes on and on and on. If you don't get any business, you're going to go out of business. So there's 9 reasons why, in my opinion, if you're new, that you don't put your prices on your website. If I was new, I would want people calling me. I want to practice that sales pitch on the phone. I want to know, what's the temperature of the market out there? Who are these people that are selling their homes, and what are they thinking? What are their needs? And it's everybody that's calling you. You really need to know what is going on in your market. And if people aren't calling you, you have no opportunity to do that. So in the beginning, you might be starting out and you can practice your sales pitch and you talk to somebody. And then afterwards, you do an autopsy. What went well? What didn't? What are you going to do different next time? And when you do that, you can start to analyze your sales pitch. So if you talk to 10 people and you booked 1 job, you have some work to do. And now you know, okay, I've got I know for every 10 people I talk to, I can book 1 job. Now you put a goal. I want 3. I want to book 3 out of those 10. And then you work towards that. And then once you hit the 3, then you raise it to the 4. And you do it incrementally, and you write it down and you work at it and you analyze that data. And by doing this, you are going to improve your sales process overall. I do think it is completely okay for you to put consultation prices on your website, no matter where you're at in business. But it should be, again, going rate. You should be charging what you're worth. Don't give it away for $50. Now, on the alternative, if you have been in business for a while and you have an amazing business and you need to weed out the tire kickers, 100% I would be putting starting at X. Because that's where you're at the time of your business where, you are, whatever your pricing is, you're going to really attract the people that can just afford it or can't afford it. They can barely afford it and they kind of want to get there, or the people that can absolutely afford it. So if they come to your website and they see, hey, if it's starting at $6,000, I'm just using a round number, and they know, oh my God, I'm a $2,000 girl, then you've avoided that phone call and that saved you time. So, but on the flip side, if you're new, you kind of want to practice that sales pitch. Great question. Is it worth it to buy some items to be used again and again, vases, bed linens, or should you rent most of the staging items? It depends on your business model and what it is that you want to do, and do you want to carry your inventory? So personally, I would not be renting these things because, and I know there's a slide coming up here, I don't think it's a good return on your investment. You're paying money. You're being a broker to make somebody else money at that point every time you rent. So if I was going to run a staging business, I'd have my own inventory. I'd have my own accessories. Even if I was starting out and I wasn't ready to buy the big furniture items, the sofas, the chairs, the love seats, the big tables, and I was only doing hand carried accessories, I would definitely be doing that. I would be absolutely renting the bigger items and then carrying my own inventory for the accessories. There's no reason why that money shouldn't be making me a little bit more money. So for monetary reasons, I'm not able to leave my full-time job solely to do staging. How do you best position your business to allow for growth? I'm not going to lie to you. That's very difficult. It can be done. Not a lot of people do it super well. How they do it, however, is they concentrate on occupieds and consultations, not in that order. I would concentrate on consultations first. And if you love the occupieds, move into the occupieds, try to get some business that way. And then once you get some substantial business with that, and if you're able to go full time, then at that point, you could probably look at being able to do vacants. But consults, I think, are easy for you because you don't have any overhead really. I mean, you're always going to want your website and some marketing materials. I mean, that's pretty, minuscule in pricing. But a consult, you don't have to have a big warehouse, or you don't have to own your inventory or anything like that. So it's in and out. It's in and out, down and dirty, a couple $100. You go in 2 hours, you're done, and you leave. One thing I do want to say about consults, a lot of new people getting into the business get very upset when they don't, what they say, upsell to a full staging. And I always like to teach people when you're new in the business is don't worry about the upsell, worry about the consultation. Because so many stagers report back to me, I'm not getting that upsell. I can't get the full staging. And I said, well, tell me about your consultation. What are you doing? What's happening? And then they tell me, I come out and I talk to them and, tell them what to do here or there, whatever, give a couple color consults, but I don't tell them, where to put the furniture or where to do anything like that, And I'm kind of taken back, and it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. Why would they give you more money when you didn't do the job in the first place? So a home staging consultation for most homeowners is they want to know exactly what they need to do in order to stage the home and for them to do it themselves with their own furniture. And that means you need to tell them what to do. So if you're going to start out with consults or anytime you're doing it, make sure you load up on that consult. You really want to walk away with a consultation that you've made a few $100s and you have given them every bit of morsel that they can possibly have. It's at that point, if they feel overwhelmed and they don't want to move the furniture around and do the rest of it, it's at that point when they're overwhelmed where they look at you and say, do you take a check or credit cards? And how much is it for you to do the job? And then you can bid the job for that. But don't go into the consult thinking that the end result is that you want to have the upsell. The end result is you should have an amazing consult. So that's what I would concentrate on. How does the Wholesale Buyers Group work? Is the resale certificate the same as a sales and use tax certificate? They call it different things in different states. So some is a resale cert, some is a resale license, some is a sales and use. You need to contact I would start at your Secretary of State, your Department of Taxation, or your Board of Equalization. They are all different, again, different in every state. So you would check with them. Sometimes you will call and you will tell them that you want to buy wholesale and this is what you do. And they're going to say, oh, you're not reselling it. And they say, oh, you can't have a reseller's permit. Baloney. They don't know what they're talking about. It's a clerk. They're making $12 an hour. Use the term sales and use and get the certificate. Because when you file your taxes, the Department of Revenue doesn't care what you call it. You know, they have different things that they call it. So they just want their money. So if you don't resell it and charge sales tax from somebody, then you pay what's called sales and use tax. So it's just worded differently with how it is that you pay them. So let's talk a little bit about the buying group. This is for anybody who's wanting to buy wholesale. It comes with your RESA membership. If you are not a RESA member, it is $599 a year to subscribe to the buyers group. What this is many different wholesale vendors that I have been able to negotiate better deals for stagers. So anybody can walk into any wholesale provider. So let's just talk about Olex, for example. If you have a sales resale license and you go to market or you call up and get an account with them, you can buy from them. Anybody can. And when you walk into their showroom, you're going to get what's called your showroom pricing, your designer pricing. That's how they treat stagers, is more like an interior decorator designer. And if you spend over $5,000, they will give you stocking dealer pricing. And stocking dealer pricing is typically the pricing that's reserved for big box furniture stores or for people that are placing $20, $30, $40, $50, $100,000 worth of an order. So when you don't want to spend $5,000 in order to get that, if you're part of the RESA buying group, you don't have to. You will actually get 25% below stocking dealer pricing on your first order. It doesn't have to be $5,000 and there's no minimum order. So if you just wanted to purchase $500 of something, you would get 25% below stocking dealer. So very much you're going to make your money back. And the importance of the buying group is that when you can buy your inventory at a much better wholesale price, the more profitable that is going to be for you. So again, you can walk in, you don't have to be part of the buying group. If you want to spend 20 grand, most of them will give you a stocking dealer or a little bit of a discount off of it. But certainly what we're trying to do here with the buying group is we're trying to harness our collective buying power, our collective purchasing power for everybody in an industry. So what we've done is we've said, look, we have all these stagers in our industry and in our organization, and I want you to look at them as a group and the group volume of sales that you get annually and extend these discounts to even the person that's not buying thousands and thousands of dollars. Extend it to that person as well. And so that's why the buying group works. What I can tell you about the buying group is the more people that join it and utilize it, the better it's going to be. If we don't use it and people are not using a particular vendor, they will bow out of it and the discount will go away. So the more and more people that are using this, the better it's going to be for everybody. Rhonda's asking a question, are the wholesale vendors mostly online or are there physical locations to shop? Okay, so this is the way wholesale works. When you are a wholesale purchaser, you're called a buyer. So that would be anybody who's a stager, a redesigner, anybody that's buying, you're a buyer. There are markets. So there's High Point Market. There's the America's Mart in Atlanta. They're gift show and rug oriented, but they have a lot of our vendors as well that are also furniture. And there's the Las Vegas Market. High Point is the largest one because it's an entire town in North Carolina. Vegas, I would say, is probably one of the best ones out there because there's a lot of furniture vendors. It's not so gift oriented. It's more furniture vendors. And our vendors, most of them, I would say maybe only one or two do not have showrooms at these different markets. So some will have a showroom at every market. Some have it in Vegas and High Point. Some might have it in Vegas and Atlanta. It just kind of depends. What we do is RESA every year. We have an annual convention, RESACon. And the day after RESACon ends is the first day of market in Las Vegas. So what we do is we have a tour that you can go on. If you're a RESA member, you become part of the buying group, you can go on this tour, and we're going to take everybody around to all the different vendors. The vendors will talk for about 5 or 10 minutes about what their offer is to everybody, so you can meet them, and then you know where they are and which buildings they're in. And at the end of the day and the next day, because most people stay 2 or 3 days after RESACon to be able to shop the market, is that's where you'll go in and you'll place your orders. Most of them also allow you to order online. So you can go into the showrooms, see it, touch it, feel it, get a good sense of it, write it down, and then you can go home and place your orders as well. Summer market is not as busy as winter market. We used to have RESACon in the winter and beginning of the year, and it was just flooded with people. And now we have it in the summer, and it's much more manageable to be able to go to market. So that's a little bit about the RESA buying group. There's all kinds of discounts. Again, a lot of places, they waive the minimums. Some have free freight Friday. So if you order on a Friday, you get free freight. That can save a couple $1,000s in one order, just from freight alone. Does anybody have any other questions about wholesale, about the buying group? If you do, go ahead and type it in, and I'll hang tight for a quick second, and then we'll move on to the next question. Okay, if you do, go ahead and type it. I can always come back to it. What are your thoughts on doing accessories only staging? I think it should never, ever be done. Going to be super blunt. I think it looks hobbyist. I think it looks cheap. It's ineffective. It's not staging. It doesn't warm up the space. I don't think it does anything positive for the space, but look unfinished. Here's the other thing. This is your rep that's on the line. So when you want your business cards out, you want to, market in this staging in this house for everybody to see it, that this is your work, and they see this vignette staging, or how agents say, let's just warm up the space. And they put, a chair and a throw and a sad Michael's ficus tree next to a fireplace and call it staged. It's just not effective. It doesn't look good at all. I see it where I'm at a lot, where they'll put, folded towels in the laundry room and think, oh, we're warming up the space. No, you're not. It looks stupid. Stop it. They shouldn't be doing it. So it's your reputation. People don't know why you did it. They don't know if you're new. They don't know if it was a budget issue. They don't know that you didn't recommend it. All they know is your name was attached to it. So I would really, really think hard and long about doing vignette staging. Rhonda, if you don't have a buyer account set up, will they set one for you up at market? At market, I'm sure they probably can. I would actually set up all your accounts ahead of time, just because it's so busy. We're talking, I don't know if anybody's ever been to market, but in Las Vegas, it is 3 huge buildings. They're probably 20 stories high, and it's just floor after floor after floor of furniture and accessories and drapery and you name it, mattresses, everything. So they're very, very busy because everybody's buying. So I would set up your accounts ahead of time. When you join the RESA buying group, you're going to go to the RESA website, log in, go to Mora, the members only resource area, and then go to the 4th light blue heading down, their titles, and it'll say RESA buying group, and it's going to give you a little code. That's what you're going to use when you join the buying group, so you're not charged the $599 for the subscription. That's why you'll get it for free. Once you are logged into that website, you can actually go and click on every vendor and read exactly what their offer is. And a lot of them will have instructions on how to set up your account. So you can absolutely do that in advance. But yeah, Jessica, you're right. You want to have a plan before you go. The tour is great. We will take everybody out on a tour, and it's wonderful. But look in advance, plan this. Look online with all of our buying group vendors and make a plan of what it is that you're wanting to see and wanting to look at and potentially wanting to purchase. That way you can go in, you're really focused, you have it written down, you've got a game plan, and that's the best way to work the market. Recommended pricing strategy, package versus square foot, etc. Does not matter. Does not matter. There are different methods to get you to a number that you need to charge. I don't care how you do it. Nobody else cares how you do it. It's just got to be a fee, and it's got to be a fee that you can make a living off of and be profitable. And you just have to present it correctly with confidence. So all the other strategies for putting it together, it just doesn't matter. Your strategy could be off. Somebody could say, oh, I'm going to charge $1 a square foot. Really? It's $1 a square foot, cover your expenses and make you a profit? Who knows? You have to do the math. So figure out, just do the math. Your expenses and what you need to be able to make a profit. I think it's gimmicky when you say, oh, I got this package one, package this, and package that. I feel it's a little gimmicky. I feel sounds a little bit newbie, hobbyist. When I read it, I'm probably extremely jaded. I've been in this industry a very long time, so I can spot something new instantly. So that's the kind of reaction that I get to it. Maybe the average person wouldn't view it that way. But the bottom number is what matters. How you get to it doesn't really matter. What's the most commonly sold staging package and what to charge for it in North County, San Diego? And where are some affordable storage options, small warehouses in North County, San Diego? Okay, I have no idea. I am not from North San Diego. So unfortunately, there's just no way for me to know everybody's geography and what people are charging. We do have a pricing report on the RESA website. If you hover over, if you go to the RESA website and then you hover over the resources menu, you will get a drop down of publications. And there's a pricing publication. We did this a couple years ago. We're getting ready to do another survey soon in the next couple of months and hope to get some pricing information out of that. This will give you some guidelines of where things fall in different states. But again, when you talk about staging packages, I just don't, that type of language, I don't respond well to it. But again, if you're using it just for your own sense internally, I know that I just got a bid to get my house staged, and we're not doing the ancillary bedrooms. So we're not doing the extra rooms. We're doing the master. So it's the main key spaces. We're doing living room, dining, master, bathrooms, office, kitchen. So we're doing everything else but 2 spare bedrooms. So a lot of people might just call it main room packaging, main room staging, key room staging. They refer to it a little bit differently. What are some affordable storage options, warehouses? You'd have to use Google. If you're looking for a warehouse, contact a commercial real estate agent. Tell them what it is that you're looking for. A lot of people will use just any regular storage facility. I definitely recommend something with climate control. So when it's the summertime, you can go in and won't be melting. And when it's winter time, you can be warm. And it also, the climate control helps your inventory as far as getting, not making it mold and just, the weather going back and forth. So Nikki says she just sold a property, first vacant, 3 days and above asking. Congratulations. That's awesome. A real estate agent, I thought that it was a great idea to offer staging to a heavy hitter at a deep discount so my inventory is not sitting in the garage making money and my sign is out in the yard. I don't have another vacant set up and will be staging in 3 weeks. What's your opinion? Of giving your stuff away for free? No, Nikki, right? Don't do that, because Shell was going to fly there with you and tell this person, no, it's not happening. No, I would not do that. That's a ploy. That's what they use. Hey, why don't you stage this listing for free? I'll give you the exposure. It might as well be making money out here and everybody can see it. I personally would never do that. This is just somebody trying to get something done. They may have a good intent, I'm sure, wanting to legitimately help you out, but it really sets a precedent. And once you start coming in and doing deals like this, these people will want something from you all the time. 50%. Why are you discounting your profit by 50%? Because it takes you the same amount of money and energy to do that job, whether you charge $500 for it or $5,000. So every time you discount something, you are reducing your profit margin. So I again, if 50% is worth it to get out of bed in the morning, you can. But again, they're always going to look for something. I guarantee you this. I have somebody in my life right now who helped me out on something over a decade ago. I have expressed my sincere appreciation. I've remunerated, I've thanked, I've cards, I've this, I've that. I've always given credit, and this person will never let me live it down. I'm always going to owe this person. Same thing's going to happen when you start doing things like that in general. What do you suggest for obtaining the proper insurance protection? This is a fantastic question. You should all be insured. Peninsula Excess Insurance Brokers is our insurance broker that we use. Judy Phobes is the broker. I've been working for Judy for nearly a decade. She is the only broker on the planet that has written more policies than anybody else with staging. She is one of the head people through the underwriters that they go to about staging. It is because of her work and RESA and all of us pulling, again, our resources together and going through one person that we even have insurance available for stagers is because of this woman. She's brilliant. I highly recommend her. RESA members, I think you get a 10% discount. She will tell you exactly what type of insurance you need, how much you need. It's extremely important that when you do get insurance, that every year, when you come up for renewal, you really look at your inventory. If you've purchased more inventory, if you've got more office equipment, you have to really look at that and notify your insurance carrier, even if it's costing you a little bit of money. It's the cost of doing business. If you don't, it can turn around and bite you in the behind. So if you have a fire or something goes on, and then this just actually happened to somebody, there was a fire, everything was ruined in a fire, but she had failed to notify her insurance company that she had bought, you know, like 80 grand more worth of inventory over the last year. She was only covered for 20 grand. So it caused a lot of problems. So it's super important. The other thing is that I want to talk to you about is the SRM staging policy. This is staging risk management. Now, staging risk management is an ancillary policy. It's an addition to your regular general liability and policy that you would get from PenX. But let's talk about your own inventory. So at PenX, you're going to get a policy, and it's going to cover your inventory, fire, loss, theft, you know, damages, you know, whatever. You're going to be covered for that. But here's the thing. Why would you want to file a claim with your insurance carrier if you had $20,000 worth of furniture in a vacant staging and somebody drove up in the middle of the night with a U-Haul truck at 3 a.m. and they unloaded every single stick of furniture out of that stage? And you're looking at 20 grand of furniture, however much it is, and now you want to file a claim with your carrier. That inventory was out of your care, custody, and control. And in my opinion, you shouldn't have to take that hit. The homeowner should have to take the hit. Here's the problem with the homeowner. Here's the problem with filing a claim with your insurance. Let's talk about that first. You file that claim, a $20,000 claim with your insurance carrier, it's likely you will not get renewed. Even as low as a $5,000 or $6,000, $7,000 claim, likely not to be renewed. It's going to make it difficult for you to get insurance, and you're going to pay a much higher rate. Just like with auto insurance, you file a claim, they jack your rates for 3 years, and then things will come back down. You get tickets, same thing, everything goes up. Staging risk management will cover your inventory in those situations where your inventory is out of your care, custody, and control and on a staging. So example, you can get up to $10,000 worth of coverage for only $180, and that's for a 60-day policy. We started this out at 60 days because most people with staging, you want to get in and out within 60 days, and it seems to be sufficient. You can renew it monthly after that on a monthly basis. This will cover your inventory. This will make it so the homeowner doesn't have to be out of pocket. Now, here's the problem with the homeowners. When they go to sign your contract, which I know you all have, and you've got verbiage in there that they should be responsible for your inventory while it's in their care, custody, control, they're going to say, I have homeowners insurance, not a big deal. And you're going to say, fantastic, if you could just add me on as an additional insured and send me a deck page, that would be fabulous, and we'll put that on record. That way you know your stuff is insured. However, here's the key that most people don't realize. Most homeowners don't even realize this, that all that inventory that's in their home, it's not likely their homeowner's insurance is going to cover it. You want to know why? Because they don't own it. So legitimately, the homeowner's insurance typically is not going to cover things that the homeowner doesn't own, or else all the neighbors and all your friends who say, hey, I had a big screen TV over at Joe's house and it burnt down this weekend and I need to get reimbursed for that. And people can pad their claims. So one, it may not be covered. Two, they may not even be covered for the contents inside their listing if the house has been vacant for more than 60 days. So if they've moved out and it's been staged, some insurance carriers are 30 days actually, but 30 to 60 days, they no longer have contents coverage. So this happens sometimes with snowbirds that they don't realize this, and they fly, south for the winter. They go down to Florida, and then they come home to Vermont, and their basement's flooded because pipes burst, and they file a claim, and the insurance carrier comes out and looks at it and say, what was it that happened? When did it happen? Well, we don't know. We were in Florida for the last, for the summer. We're snowbirds. And they say, oh, we can't cover you. You have to be living in the home. So those are some of the drawbacks with homeowners saying that they're going to cover your policy. So for up to $20,000 in coverage, you can get I believe it's $250 premium, and up to $30,000, it's a $300 premium. So what we suggest that you do is go to the RESA website on the homepage, and there's a widget at the bottom that says Staging Risk Management, this logo right here. If you click on that, it'll take you to the page. And if you log into RESA, it'll give you contract verbiage that you can actually add it to your contract to state that you require that your stuff is insured. They can elect to accept this policy or decline it. But if they decline it, you need to make sure that you're covered again through a deck page through their policy. So this is kind of the skinny on the insurance aspect. Oh, SRM will also cover the furniture for court. Here's the thing with court. If you rent and you put the lease in your name at court, you may sign a damage waiver. That damage waiver is only for, little bitty things, wear and tear. It's not for theft. It's not for vandalism. It's not for fire. It's not for flood. It's not going to cover you with that. Sometimes court will also waive everything for you insurance-wise, or the damage waiver, if you give them a copy of your policy with Pen X. But again, you would be filing a claim against your policy to pay for court's furniture. So I don't recommend that. So the staging risk management is the way to go. So you take out a SRM policy for every stage. It's an individual policy based per stage, per one. Everybody pays individually, and that way they're covered. That's it on the insurance. If you have any other questions, type it in there and I will circle back to it. Is renting furniture really an option, or is investing in your own inventory a better return of investment? Awesome question. And owning your own inventory is 100% better return on investment. Plain and simple. You can be a stager and you can be really hustling, and at the end of the year, you can look up and say, my goodness, I've paid court furniture rental $200,000 in leases this year through my clients of renting furniture for them. And then you can say, oh my gosh, I could have bought my own inventory and I could have made that $200,000. So absolutely worth it. Now, when you're starting out, most stagers, they tend to start buying inventory at the 3 to 4 year mark. We're starting to see a little bit of a shift in the last year of stagers that are newer into the industry in the 1 to 2 year mark that are wanting to do this. I highly recommend it. The other thing that I recommend that you do, again, go to RESACon, because this year at RESACon, we are having several of our sessions on this particular subject. Ryan Marsh, he's actually on the board of directors at RESA. He's a complete mathematician, total brainiac. He's so much value. He is teaching people how to scale your business and how to be able to plan through, to be able to afford to pay for your inventory, so you don't just have to be out of pocket all at once. He's got Excel spreadsheets and formulas and how it is that they've done it. And they have 3 locations, by the way. And they already have, for the month of May, 25 stagings on their books for May in one location. They do up to 100 stagings a month through all 3 locations. So this is something that these guys really know what it is that they're talking about. Also, Todd McAllister's talking about curating your brand through wholesale purchasing as well. So if you want to know more about this and how to do it, also give you a little tidbit. We are also now knowing that you can actually finance your inventory purchases as equipment, and you can lease it like a lease, like you're leasing equipment. Like if you were a gym and you had 50 elliptical machines, you would lease those elliptical machines over time for a much lower monthly rate. You can do that with staging inventory, and we're teaching everybody how to do that at RESACon. So check that one out. What materials or advice do I need to be prepared for RESACon 2019? Come with an open mind. Come to be able to soak it all in. It's amazing. It's life-changing. It's business-changing for a lot of people. You're going to meet people that you'll form friendships with for the rest of your business careers, and some probably your life. You get so much peer-to-peer support. It's not just the sessions where you'll learn something in. You will absolutely learn from your peers when you're sitting with somebody at breakfast, lunch, or the awards dinner. As far as being prepared, I always say dress in layers. While it is very hot in Vegas in the summertime, we are inside and it tends to be freezing on the inside. So sometimes you'll walk out, get heated up, but dress in layers. A sweater is something you can take on and off. And just be prepared to soak it all in and really just be in the moment and really just soak up every single second you can. It's so many people after they go, they come back year after year and they're still learning. So there's something there for everybody, whether you're new, middle level, or more seasoned. We actually stagger our sessions and we gear them towards somebody we mark them. And so you will read one, you'll say, this is really geared towards somebody who's newer. This is geared towards somebody in the middle of the business. This is someone who's more seasoned. You can go to any one you want. So if you're at year one and you see something for the advanced topics, go to it. If it interests you and it's something that's up your alley and you're wanting to learn about it, go. You will be light years ahead of everybody else. Is it hard to hire bonded movers on the fly? How much do they charge? Depends on your area. That's something I just can't answer for you. You need to do research in your own area. This is what I will tell you, however, when you're hiring movers. There are lots of different types of services out there. You know, 2 college kids in a truck. Dude, I need a truck. Abraham in a truck. Whoever, Dave in a truck, whatever. These smaller companies that want to come out and do moving for people. And a lot of stagers are attracted to that because they're inexpensive. And you can get a good relationship with them because they're local. Here's the problem with that. Most of those people are self-employed. When you're self-employed, you're considered an owner-operator. When you're considered an owner-operator, you're exempt from having to have workers' comp insurance. If you're exempt from workers' comp insurance, you're not covered. Most people, their health insurance policy is not what they call a 365 policy that's going to cover you 365 days a year, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, under what circumstance. It doesn't work that way because your health insurance policy is going to want to subrogate any type of claim if you're injured due to the fault of somebody else. So while it's not mandated by law that you have to have the workers' comp, stagers need to be aware of hiring somebody that doesn't have it. Picture this. You're at a staging. The people that you hired with their 2 dudes in a truck or college kid in a truck, they come out and they're taking your furniture in and out and they trip on something. There's a crack in the sidewalk. They trip, guy busts his leg. $30,000 bill at the emergency room. And while it's casted and everything that's done for him over the next few weeks, it ends up being 30 grand. Who do you think he's going to go after? Didn't have workers' comp insurance because he's exempt from it, right? But that doesn't do anything to you. What he's going to do, he's going to lawyer up and he's going to hit the homeowner, the stager, and the real estate agent. That attorney's going to hit all 3 of y'all. And then it's going to be a fight to see who's going to pay this dude. Stagers now in a bad situation with the homeowner and the agent because they brought somebody onto the property that wasn't covered. If you're hiring out, those are 1099 people. They're not your employees. You can't cover them under workers' comp. So it's really, really important for you to, when you're vetting your movers, to make sure that you actually see a workers' comp policy. And then not only do you see it and you develop a relationship with them, you need to put it into your reminder of when it expires. And 2 weeks before it expires, you need to do a follow-up. Hey, I'm just doing my records, my auditing this year. I need a new copy of your new workers' comp policy. And then you put that on file and you schedule another reminder for a year later. So you want to keep up on that. Appropriate dress for the awards dinner, cocktail attire. Everybody likes to dress up a little bit, but come however you feel comfortable. We will not kick you out. I would also like to have a pajama party at the awards dinner one year. I think that would be fantastic, but I keep getting voted out against that. What's a typical or target profit margin on staging jobs? 30%. 30%. That's where I'd like everybody to be. You might not start out that way. If you're at 15, great. Set your goal for 20. Then move it to 25. Just keep looking at different ways to be able to make yourself profitable. But if you can get yourself at 30%, you're golden. What are the main differences between staging a regular home and a model home? A model home is a home that everybody looks at in order to sell 50 other homes in a community. A regular home is just any home on the street. So again, a model home is usually at a tract home. So it's a neighborhood, maybe something that's newly built, and you go into the different models. They have 3 or 4 different floor plans. So somebody will come in and stage each one of those floor plans, and everything remains there all the time. Could be there for years. however long it takes in order for them to sell the homes in the community. So when people come to the community, they review they tour the floor plans instead of the actual home for sale. Never staged a model home. The builder wants to buy instead of renting the furniture accessory, so there's some design involved. How do I price the whole thing? Outsourcing, pulling the project, installation, buying the other items and charge for them, etc. This is something that I would be purchasing wholesale through the RESA buying group. I would, what is your hourly fee? What's your hourly fee that makes it worth it for you to go out? And when I say hourly fee, I don't ever recommend that people tell somebody, hey, my hourly fee is $2.35 an hour, but you need to know what it is for you for your own calculations. When you're charging for something like this, if you upsell, if you charge up on the actual inventory that you purchase, you could add on 20% and it's still cheaper than them buying retail. So if you want to buy everything through the RESA buying group, place all those orders and then tack on 20 or 30% to that, you can certainly do that. Try 40%, see what the number looks like. Be able to figure it out. You'll be able to figure out what is retail and what your actual pricing is, and then you can come to a percentage markup. You want it to be fair. You want him to be equitable. You want him to make money, but you also need to make money, so you don't want to give it away. That's how I would recommend doing that. How do you charge different for a model versus staging a vacant? Your time is your time is your time. Model homes typically are really a full home, so it's not your key room staging. So any model home I've ever been into, every single room was staged. So you definitely are doing everything. I don't see any reason to charge them differently. A lot of people rent the furniture. A lot of the builders want to rent the furniture, and then you make a stipend every month from that. You're going to make a regular, passive income with your rental that's being out. But in reality, because they have it in their homes for so long, it's really not profitable for them to do that. So personally, if I was a stager, I'd be telling my builder, look, if you use my inventory, I have to rent it to you because I can't make money off of it. It's probably more profitable for you in the long run if we buy the furniture. So I can source all that for you and get it done that way. And then you can make money off of the sourcing. So you've made your money off your markup, and then you're going to charge and stage it just like you would charge to stage any other home. It takes you longer, so you're not going to bid it, like you would, not doing all of your rooms. Or doing just the key rooms. You're going to bid it for everything. So it's going to take you a little bit longer, a little bit more inventory because he's buying it all, but you're going to go in and make it look amazing. When buying from the RBG, do dealers usually list suggested retail price? I believe they may. Some do, some don't. You're going to look at tags when you go to market, and some have an MSRP. Most, I believe, just have a staging or a designer price, and then they're stocking dealer price and container pricing. But you can certainly ask. While having a generous inventory facilitates your marketability, what is the best way to promote your business when you are just starting out with no inventory? Fantastic question. And this kind of depends on you and your personality. If you are somebody who likes to network and you're a talker and you don't hate people, I would strongly recommend that you get involved in the staging community. I would recommend that you join a RESA chapter. I would recommend that you join your local association of realtors as an affiliate member. If you have a women's council of realtors, I would recommend that you join that as well. I would be going to every single one of their meetings. I will tell you that RESA is patterned after Women's Council of Realtors. Our government structure, the way that we work, our chapters, it's patterned after them because I was with Women's Council, still am, been a member since 2002. I love the format. That's why we use it here at RESA. It really makes a good impact. But if it's a square peg round hole, I have a girlfriend who is stager, and I would say, man, I don't know why you're not going to WCR. I don't know why you're not going to their breakfast meeting and their tours and getting involved and volunteering and doing their fashion shows and, do the crab feeds and, immerse yourself, infiltrate real estate agents. And she said, oh, I went. I didn't get any business out of it. I'm like, how can that possibly be? I said, I don't believe that. What did you do? Did you not talk to anybody? Did you just sit in, a corner by yourself and sulk? What was it? She said, no, I went like twice. Okay, twice is not cutting it. You want to become one of them. You want to become a mover and a shaker. When you go to Women's Council and you go to the Association of Realtors, the people that are participating there all are movers and shakers. It's the president, it's the secretary, it's the president-elect of the association, it's the president-elect of Women's Council. All these groups are there. The top affiliates are there, the mortgage lenders, the title reps, the attorneys. Everybody's going to network because these are the movers and the shakers. And this is what I believe that stagers don't capitalize on enough. I would recommend, again, RESA chapter, because when you join a RESA chapter, you guys should be doing things for real estate agents, educating them. You can have your meetings not just for stagers, but have a meeting and have a speaker that a real estate agent would want to hear, and then invite the real estate agents to the chapter meeting. So there's lots of ways to be able to do that. I strongly believe in the networking volunteerism, meaning getting involved. If you're going to get involved, whether a RESA chapter or especially being an affiliate at an association of realtors or a WCR, builders associations, also join them. I would recommend that you get in anything that has to do with ticket sales, because you get face-to-face with people that you don't know. So if they have a fundraiser, volunteer to sell tickets. So you can go into people's offices. It gives you a reason to go in. You're not shoving yourself down their throats because they don't have time for it. You're there to sell a ticket to the crab feed. When you deliver the tickets to the crab feed, you're going to put it in a branded, beautiful envelope with your company, with your business card. And then you're going to deliver it. And you're going to go on about your business. It's just about infiltrating. It's about getting your name out there, and you have to keep going and be involved. It's for them to see you over and over. Eventually, what ends up happening at these meetings is somebody will have a PETA client, a house that won't sell, and they start talking about it, and they say, hey, go see Nikki. She's that stager here. She's been coming to our meetings for a while. Let me see, where is she? And they'll look around. Hey, Nikki, come over here. Talk to Joe about this listing. So eventually you'll get there. But the key is to be able to network, is to be able to give back, but don't shove yourself down their throats. And certainly don't spin your wheels on people that don't find value in staging. A lot of people keep banging their heads against the wall, and they call me for coaching, and they say, I keep going after this real estate agent. I just can't get him on board. I'm like, what? They said no. And I know that no means not yet, but seriously, after you've made a few attempts, if you're not closing that person, move on, Donkey Kong. Move on to someone else who's going to care about what you're doing. It's a numbers game. You've got to, it's like smile and dial. I used to be a telemarketer. I was 16 years old. I ran a telemarketing department for a solar company, and we booked appointments for sales reps to come out and sell you solar in the 80s. Smile and dial, call after call after call. That was my sales ratio. I knew back then I had to call 40 people before I could book one appointment. So it was like boom, boom, boom. And you want 6 appointments in an hour to be able to do that. So it's just hitting all those particular people. So that's how I recommend doing it. But again, if you're square peg, round hole, and you don't fit into that type of personality trait that's going to do well in networking, then this is not going to be something that's good for you. If that's the case, what I recommend that you do is, I still think you need to be visible. So I would be blogging. I would be writing your own articles and your own content and using social media. I would be doing video. So I'd be putting that out, and you can also sponsor things at different realtor events. And I mean an actual event that's going to return, do a booth someplace or a home show or something like that. And then when you do that, you take pictures of that and you blog about that. So you always want to be blogging about something, putting something out there on social media about what it is that you are doing. That way you're more visible and people see you. So Jessica's got a question. How long does it take to acquire a typical home? Let's say just the major rooms of inventory. If you were buying for your first house, how long do I need to tell a real estate agent for lead time? I don't recommend that you do it that way. It will go wrong. This is not Amazon.com. They're not drop shipping to you. You cannot go into it buying wholesale thinking that you can place an order on Monday and you're going to get it on Friday. Some things, if they're in stock, they may ship in 2 or 3 days. There could be some specialty items that you might want that might take a month. We recommend that you do this in advance. That's why Ryan and Todd's class at RESACon is really, really good to be able to get you in there, to be able to know how to buy correctly. And what they're also going to teach is how to buy universal items. I did a webinar this morning on Stager Talk with Todd, and I don't know if anybody here is my age. I'm 50, but does anybody remember Garanimals when you were a kid? You know, the matching tags for your kid jeans and shirts and everything went together. That's kind of what they're talking about curating your brand through wholesale purchasing, is to be able to buy things that are pretty universal, that are going to be able to be mixed and matched and used in multiple types of homes and listings for you. That way you don't have to get something that's so specific for every house. But certainly when you're placing your orders, you can see your lead times. You can tell from their websites and your rep. They will be able to tell you if they have it in stock. They'll be able to tell you if it's freight, it's going to be different shipping. If it's UPS, they'll definitely be able to give you when it's going to be delivered. So you can get some feedback from them. You can do some things if you know you've got something coming up and you're wanting to get it, great. But I would actually be planning all year long and doing your inventory that way. Just don't want to get yourself into a pickle. If you think that you can get it in a couple days, especially if something ends up going wrong, then you're going to have to replace it anyway. So much lead time, many lead time. Check with your reps just to be sure. Okay, I'm at the end of the webinar here, where I do want to still take more questions. I'm happy to stay on longer. These were just some of the questions these were all the questions that we got from anybody who filled anything out. Let me just go over this slide quickly. If you have not had staging training, I implore you to get it. You don't know what you don't know. These are the RESA training providers that we work with. The top 4 are accredited training providers. What that means is that we have vetted them. We have looked at their books, their website, their materials, their class materials. We've looked at everything, their policies, their procedures, their refund policies, how many times their team meets a year to discuss their customer satisfaction surveys. All those things are mandated by RESA. We actually mandate to them that they have to meet. If they have a business partner, they have to meet X amount of years to discuss these things. They're all vetted. The affiliate training providers, they've been pre-screened. We've checked their references. We have not reviewed their class materials. It doesn't mean that they couldn't be just as great as the accredited ones. It just means they haven't gone through the accreditation program for whatever reason. Strongly recommend that y'all check them out and get training, because if you haven't had it, you definitely are going to want it. Also, RESACon, July 25th, 26th, 27th in Las Vegas. Home Staging Industry Awards are going on right now. If you're a member of RESA as of I think it was the 16th or 17th of last month. I'm sorry, I think it was after the 23rd or 24th of last month where we launched the awards. If you were a member as of that date, you were eligible to vote, and we sent out an email to everybody to be able to log in and vote. So please check that out. So Nikki's asking, is there a workaround with vendors that only ship to a commercial address? Yeah, so some vendors want you to have a dock. A lot of them don't. A lot of people think this is a ginormous problem, and it's not as big as people think that it is. But yes, you can arrange for freight to be picked up someplace else. You just have to find a commercial location that will allow you to ship there. So you can check that out. A lot of them also just ship through UPS, certain things. And so they're not needing any types of docks that way. Any other questions? Anything goes, anything I've already covered, anything that we haven't covered that you want to know, please feel free to type it in the chat box. Like I said, I'm willing to stay over as long as anybody has questions. I'm happy to hang out with you. This is one of those things we need the Jeopardy theme song, because I don't know if anybody's typing or everybody's like, nope, I'm good, no questions. So I'll rattle on here for another quick second in case somebody is typing. I don't know what else to talk about at this point. I think we got a lot of groundwork covered. There was a lot of good questions tonight as well. I think that the biggest thing from a coaching perspective that I think that where somebody who's newer in the industry tends to struggle with, it's really your confidence. So let's just talk about that for a quick second. When it's closing sales, and again, RESACon, man, we've got some good speakers this year. Just reminded me, Ed Hatch. Ed Hatch is a sales coach. He's a teacher. He has actually spoke at NAR, National Association of Realtors, and he speaks there 26 years in a row. This guy has spoken at NAR about sales and relationships, and he's coming to RESACon. He's doing 2 sessions. I'm so excited. He's great. Kind of reminds me of a little kind of a Sam Elliott kind of look to him. Nice guy, real nice guy, but he's going to be there. But confidence is about closing. You know, you've got to deliver your information with confidence. It's something that I want you all to practice. Practice in the mirror. I do a lot of public speaking, and I was in theater. I come from a theater background when I was in high school. And when I first got into theater class, drama class, that was one of the things they taught us is go practice in the mirror. And I remember thinking, that's so lame. Why would I practice before the mirror? I'm going to look stupid. Someone's going to come in and see me. I was all embarrassed by it. And then I did it and I was like, oh my God, that works. So it really does work. If you practice in the mirror, you practice recording yourself. You will pick yourself apart. I have a freaking eye roll I can't seem to ever get rid of. Every time I look at myself on video, I am so completely focused on trying to look at the camera and not roll my eyeballs in the back of my head. But yet I will still do it. So it'll give you a lot of training for that as well. But it's confidence. It's talk about it. Talk about it. When I say confidence, if you spoke to your husband, your mom, your sister, your brother, your friend, and you were talking about staging, I guarantee you, when you talk to them about how excited you are about staging and what you can do and bring to the table, I want you to talk to your clients like that. So when you are talking this way to your friends, your network, your people, and their eyes start to roll, that's what you need to do with your clients. You need to, when your husband's looking at you going, oh God, she's talking about staging again, here we go. That's what I want you to be able to exude, that type of confidence and that type of excitement to your clients. That is what's going to sell. People are going to buy from you only if they trust you. They're going to follow your direction if they trust you. So you've got to be able to connect with people. And I think that's one of the big things that people that are new that struggle with closing the sales. It's just finding the confidence to deliver the information. So I just always recommend speak with a ton of passion about it. If you're super excited about it, people are going to feel that. It raises your energy and your vibration even. So definitely get some confidence. So Natalie's got a question. Can I review the return on investment per stage? I hopped on while you were just finishing answering the question. I'm not sure when you say the return on investment per stage, if you're meaning what profit you want to be at, 30%. You want to be at a 30% profit margin. I hope that's what you're asking. If that's not quite it, Natalie, just go ahead and retype the question. Any other questions? Again, just type them out here. Okay, I think that's about it. We're a little bit over, but again, thank you all for spending your evening with me. I really love to do these webinars, and I like it when, it's 10 or 15 people, instead of hundreds of them, because we can cover a lot more ground this way. Again, join us next month. A recording of this will be sent out to everybody. If you do have any questions, comments, concerns, please always float that up to anybody here at RESA HQ. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, happy staging.